Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. When I was in dental school in Pittsburgh, I had a friend who was 6'3". He was so tall, he was 6'3". And I'm barely 5. So every time we would walk together, he would stoop down to my level and he would say, wow, the world looks so different from this height. It's a joke. And he would always do that because he was 6'3". He would just stoop down to my level and look at the world from my eyes. And he would say, wow, the world looks so different. And then he would look at me and say, sucks to be short. It's a joke. And I never understood the depth of this joke until recently. I would always get upset at him. But now when I look back and I'm like, wow, it really is the crux. It really is the essence of the seed of anger. Because anger is, he's 6'3", he's looking at the world in a different perspective. And I'm barely 5 feet tall. So he's looking, and I'm looking at the world from my angle. And there is no rule in the world, nor is there anything written in scripture saying our heights need to match and our perspectives need to match. You see, that's the seed of anger. I'm looking at the world from my perspective. Someone else is looking at the world from their perspective. Just because I'm looking at the world from my perspective, my attachment to my perspective is the seed of anger. With this lockdown, I remember the first 1 week of lockdown was difficult because I'm not used to being at home and I'm not used to being around my son so much, 24/7, literally. So first 1 week was very difficult because there was a period of learning curve because he's in school, I'm at work, then he's in activities, and then, at night we all go to sleep. So then it really occurred to me how the world is really so different from his perspective. The way he looks at the world versus the way I look at the world is different. My perspective, my pace at which I perform activities, the pace at which I think the work needs to be done versus the pace at which he can do the work is different. And that's it. That was the seed of my anger. That's why there was this learning curve. The learning curve was because I'm like, wait a second, something's happening wrong in here. Why am I, constantly getting upset? What's missing here? And that's what was missing. And, they have a little program in their school called Leader in Me. And that week they had a theme going on saying, seek to understand before you seek to be understood. And it just instantly clicked. Our attachment to our viewpoints, to our way of looking at things, of our way of doing things, is what is the seed of anger. If we seek to understand, and that seeking to understand is compassion. Compassion is not just, oh, I feel sorry for you. Okay, I won't get angry at you. No. Compassion is, I'm 6'3", but let me come down to your level and see how you look at the world because you're just 5 foot tall. It's basically that. That's what compassion says. The seed of anger is arrogance. Arrogance says, I'm 6'3", I'm looking at the world like this. How come you can't see it like this? Compassion says, I'm here looking at the world from this angle. I understand that you have a different view, which is okay. You're okay, and I'm okay. It is really that simple. If you seek to understand, if you have that pause, because anger always arises as a little surge. It's like a little spike of annoyance. It starts with a little spike of annoyance, a little irritation. And if at that point you don't exercise compassion, which is, let me try to understand the other person's perspective. That's compassion we're talking about. Let me see what's their perspective. If you don't exercise compassion at that point, the little annoyance, irritation, that little spike of annoyance will rise up into frustration. That frustration, given enough fuel, will rise up into anger. That anger, spit out many, many times, will end up in resentment. And then it has a nice home in your heart. Every time you see that person or you see that action being performed by that person, that resentment, that the can opens up, the lid opens up, and it smells awfully bitter. And your life is bitter, and you then lovingly label yourself, I'm an angry person, I'm a bitter person. Because remember, English language has it all. You have these qualities here, slap on this label. You have these qualities, slap on this label. But remember, it all starts with a thought. And that thought is a little tiny spike of annoyance. And if you look around, like we talked about, the professional way of getting work done is actually training with them for a period of time and then revisiting that training every so often until they are able to perform the actions the way you like for them to do it. That's called professional way of training. When we hire dental assistants to work with us, there is an unprofessional way of training, which is the dentist thinks the assistant needs to know everything, how it's supposed to be done, and they need to know everything about it from day one. If not, the dentist will start, throwing instruments and getting angry. Very easy to do that. But if I have not invested that professional time with my assistant, I have no right to be angry. That's one. Now, anytime I need guidance, I only look at one source, which is my master. I read some of his articles. He didn't let me read a lot, but I read one or two, and I listened to one or two of his videos, re-listened and reread. And it was just so beautiful because he hits bullseye every single time. Someone asked him, what is the ultimate goal of anger? What are we to do with anger? Is the ultimate goal to be able to suppress it? Is the ultimate goal to be anger free? What is the ultimate goal? And then he said, the ultimate goal is to transform anger into compassion. Because at the end of the day, whether it's anger, whether it's love, whether it's jealousy, all of these are movements of energy. And energy, as you all know, can neither be created nor be destroyed. It can only be transformed from one form to another. The energy that rises within, which can create a havoc in the energy system, which is very toxic to your own energy system, is called anger. You yourself can think of an incident that can bring about anger and see what the biochemistry, how the biochemistry changes. So it is really toxic for us. So we need to tackle it for our own self, for our own good. So he says the ultimate goal of anger is to be able for it to be transformed into compassion. And compassion, as we said beforehand, is not that, oh, I feel bad for you, I'm not going to get angry at you. That's fakeness. Compassion is, this is my view. I'm 6'3". This is my view. You're 5 feet tall. This is your view. You're okay at your view because that's all you see. I'm okay at my view because that's all I see. Our perspectives don't need to match. I will seek to understand from which point you're coming from. I will seek to understand before I claim a right to be understood. Because when we think people need to understand me, people need to understand where I'm coming from, it's the seed of arrogance. It's this attachment to your own self. You feel, man, I'm important. Look at my perspective. And if you observe when people meet, right? And let's say two or three people are meeting and they're talking about traffic. Someone starts saying, because people need topics, right? Someone starts, man, the traffic nowadays is really bad. The other person will say, you have no idea. I have to travel on the highway, this particular highway, and it's totally crowded. The other person goes, you both have no clue. I travel on a highway where there is an accident almost every single day. Every interstate is backed up, and I have to be at work. You see, everyone is trying to show how their perspective is more important than the other ones. Because we have this inherent need, inherent, subtle need. Hey, hear me out. Listen to me. Look at me. I'm so important. That's the only reason why we take up conversations. That's the ego in us. And ego, when I say, doesn't mean just pride. Ego means a sense of existence, sense of individual existence, saying, I'm separate and the rest of the creation is separate. Hey, creation, look at me, how important I am. That's where ego stands. So compassion is the antidote for anger. So throughout this talk, throughout this session, we will focus on seek to understand. Because if you continuously focus on these three words, seek to understand, seek to understand, seek to understand, you will seek to understand. All annoyance, irritation, frustration, anger, resentment is because you never took the time to understand the other person's perspective, the other person's unique situation, the other person's unique personality. If you are, because we are all so much in love with our own self, we just want clones around us. Everyone who thinks alike, everyone who agrees, everyone who's submissive. It doesn't work. Everyone is a master because the same divinity that makes you feel like you are the world, that same divinity works and expresses through other people. So If I feel, hey, I am the world, I'm the top of the world, I'm so important, the other people feel exactly alike. So seek to understand. That's the first thing. Second, it is important to make a list of everyone who can piss you off. And this again, Swami talks about. He says there is transforming anger to compassion happens in stages. He says the first stage is when you decide, boy, I want to do something about this anger. And that's when you start writing down who are the people who piss me off. Initially, it will be anyone and anything that can piss you off. You might wake up, sit down with the newspaper, you will read a news, and you're just boiling. Because anything and anyone can piss you off. Or you're just, looking outside your balcony or you're driving and you see road rage. You see some driver going really fast. That's enough to piss you off, to set you off. Anything, anyone, related, unrelated, doesn't matter. Anything can piss you off. That's the first stage. You identify, oh my God, look how vulnerable I am. Some stranger on the road driving, for whatever reason they might have, driving super fast has pissed me off. Here I am, not able to contain this anger that's rising within me. So to find this out, you have to write down on a sheet of paper, write down your name and put arrows. Who are the people that can piss? What are the situations that piss me off? Write down, write down, write down. I certainly did. So write down what are the things, what are the people, what are the circumstances that piss you off, and you will be amazed. They're all cyclical. It's the same events that piss you off. Right there, you can start the filtering process to enter into stage 2. At least tell yourself, listen, these people are unrelated. Why should their actions piss me off? Okay, at least let me shorten my list so I can tackle. Right now, I'm at war with the rest of the world. Let me at least, get the enemy's army manageable. Let me cut down some things in some situations that are out of my hand, out of my control. And these people are unrelated. I shouldn't get pissed off. And just see if you can work on those first. Always we have to start from gross to subtle to subtler to subtlest. We cannot go straight to subtlest. So let us first make a list of all the people, situations, and most common things that piss us off. And let us seek to understand. You're sitting in traffic, you're honking away. Whose mistake is it? Everyone's stuck, everyone's honking. What is your honking adding to the situation? Seek to understand. The person in front of you cannot move. The person in front of the other person cannot move. There is a dearth of space and there's a lot of cars. Seek to understand. Calm yourself down. See, understand that there's nothing, that everyone's trying their best. Calm down. So many things, we watch, we listen to news that is disturbing. It's out of your hands. You as a person, if you are contributing in this world, living a grateful life, living a meaningful life, living a righteous life, earning righteous living, you're doing your part. That's all you can do. Be at peace with how you're contributing to the world. Don't add more fuel, more toxic fuel in the world that's already quite toxic. Just do your bit. What's the best I can do in this situation, and do it. Look at the gross situations of people, things, scenarios that are unrelated, that you should just definitely seek to understand and move on. Then, once you have shortened that list, then you are at situations. This particular situation always pisses me off. It could be anything. It could be just as simple as, every time my spouse leaves the wet towel on the bed, it really pisses me off. It really pisses me off. You could say that. Okay, can we tackle it? Have a clear-cut conversation. I've had it many times. Well, you have had that conversation many times. He or she is not changing their ways. What best can you do to keep your body non-toxic? Make it a point, make a mental note. Every time he or she takes a shower, I'm going to go in the bedroom, pick up that wet towel and put it to dry. Make it a task for yourself. Because it's not about them learning, it's about you being non-toxic. It literally takes 15 seconds to take that towel and dry it. But the anger, the resentment, the bitterness can create a havoc on your energy system that can last for decades. It's not worth it. So, true issues versus petty issues. Distinguish. Do petty issues really need to be handled that way? Because, truth be told, we all make petty mistakes that piss other people off. So if your petty mistakes are being forgiven, which you think you don't make anymore, I don't make any petty mistakes. Well, that's your arrogance speaking. We all make petty mistakes. We all do. And that's okay. They're petty because they're not life-threatening. They're not going to kill anyone. Can you let go? Because letting go of the petty issues is only going to feed your soul, is only going to feed your own energy system to be healthy. Next comes people. Most of the times, it's the failure to understand, not even failure, you're not even attempting to understand the other person. Everyone is so unique in their perspective. And we all have heard of that story wherein an elephant is there and 6 people go and touch that elephant. One will say, oh, the elephant looks like the tail, or the elephant looks like the leg, or the trunk, or the tummy. Everyone's perspective is different. Seek to understand, because the more you train yourself to seek to understand, less and less and less this arrogance and annoyance and frustration will be. This feeling of people need to understand me is arrogance. It's only going to wreak havoc in your energy system. And the mind uses the body as the playfield. It doesn't like to hold on to a lot of stuff. You hold resentment, it will hold for a little while, then it says, man, I'm tired now. Let me store it here in the liver. This looks like a good place. It has assigned spots throughout the body where it will store particular emotions. It has various places. You have neck and shoulder pain. It's because you have assumed a lot of, oh my God, I have this obligation that I need to take care of, karmic obligations. It will hold for a little bit. It'll get bored. It'll say, oh, this looks like a good place. Let's slap it on the shoulders. You have a lot of anger, resentment, bitterness. It says, oh, this liver looks like a great place. Let's store it there. The stomach, that looks like a good place for fears. Let's store it there. So the entire body and the diseases of the body reflect what the mind has been up to. Which is why it's important Which is why I'm saying, seek to understand for your own good. For your own good, seek to understand. Imagine someone born and brought up in a different family with different values, maybe in a different city, different schooling, different education, different type of friends, different type of, society growing up for 25, 27 years. And all of a sudden, two 27-year-olds or around that age get married. The first thing we need to do is seek to understand what were the unique situations he or she grew up in. What was their family situation like? What was the financial situation like? If he or she is acting a certain way, where is it stemming from? Where is this behavior stemming from? If his or her parents have never in public even held hands, how can he start hugging me and kissing me in public? He's never seen his parents do that. And now, just because I'm in America and everyone's displaying their love openly, I want my husband or wife to do it. Well, they've never seen it. It's not part of their conditioning. How do you expect them to behave certain way? His father or mother never got Valentine chocolates and flowers. And now here I am upset because he didn't get me flowers and Valentine Day cards and whatnot. He's not even remembering that day. But just because we are in America, hello, let's celebrate. How ridiculous is that? Seek to understand. It's the failure to understand that gives rise to seeds of annoyance and frustration. If someone is acting bitter, like we are all in this session, let's say we are all plagued with anger, and this is the first time we are listening to this. We're like, man, really, I never sought to understand. But everyone has already labeled us as, man, that person is angry. Don't talk to him. How would we feel? How helpless would it feel to be labeled? It's just that we didn't know any better. I certainly didn't know any better. But when I actually started understanding my son's perspective, it's truly so beautiful the way they look at the world. He's right now reading a book called The Diary of a Wimpy Kid. So yesterday I was asking him, how's the book? He's like, yeah, it's good. I said, is the kid really wimpy? He's like, no, mama. He's just different from the rest of the family members. He's not wimpy or anything. He's just different. He just has different opinions compared to the rest of the family members. You see, somewhere my son feels it's not right to just label someone, you're wimpy, you're weird, you're this, you're that. You just have a different opinion. So whoever that person may be that's really pissing you off, seek to understand. It's a lesson life is presenting to us, saying you still need to understand that you need to seek to understand others. Till then, you'll continue to be plagued with this anger, and your energy system will continuously be in a state of havoc. It's so easy to get pissed off. Can you seek to understand? Everyone's perspective is different. And like we discussed yesterday, there are grooves in our mind where the mind slips habitually. That's why it's called tendencies of the mind, because the mind easily slips there. It's very effortless for the mind to slip there. But this new groove that we are introducing, remember, this session is not to eliminate anger. It would be the biggest lie if I said that. It is just we are trying to understand what's bothering us. If we understand the seed of it, we can work on it. So in this session, we're introducing a new groove for the mind. Seek to understand. Seek to understand. So next time the mind will fall into the groove. But as soon as the mind falls into the groove, can you take a pause, breathe out, center yourself, and see, wait a second, what am I missing? What am I failing to understand? Don't be partial. Look at the entire situation. That situation includes you as a third party. Look at it. Look at the words you chose. Look at your actions. Look at your thinking. Are you trying to understand anyone? Or is it all about I, me, I, me, myself? Arrogance stems anger. Compassion is the antidote to anger. And compassion here is seek to understand. So this new groove that we're introducing is something you have to train lovingly, gently. Know for a fact this will happen in stages. This will happen in stages. And eventually, the old groove of anger will slowly start to fade away. And this new groove will become deeper and deeper, which is seek to understand. Where is the other person coming from? What's their pain? They might be using the harsh words because they don't know any better. No guru, no Swami entered their life to tell them, hey, that's not the way. They don't have access to Swami like I do. Can I seek to understand? Can I kill them with kindness? Can I kill them with my compassion? Can I display the highest behavior here to show them that there is another option out there? Anger doesn't need to be responded with anger. That it is possible to slowly go through these stages, create a new groove of seek to understand, and slowly make that as your default, and the anger one completely closes. It's such a scientific process. There's no esoteric mystery or anything behind it. There is a groove of old tendencies where the mind is slipping out of habit. You're just creating a new groove and you're being patient. Give yourself time. Be patient. Every time you find yourself slipping into the old groove, it's okay. It's okay. Take a deep breath, center yourself, come back to the center and say, I will seek to understand. From here on, I will seek to understand. I seek to understand. Announce it to yourself. I try to understand. I seek to understand. That's my nature. I'm very understanding. Because the mind has only heard anger, 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 anger. Don't be angry, don't be angry, don't be angry, don't be angry. Well, you're going to get angry. Let me understand. Let me understand the other person's perspective. Let me hear him out. Let me try to understand his or her unique situation, his or her unique personality. Let me understand. And the new groove, before you know it, will become your default. Initially, it's going to be hard. It's going to be so hard to keep coming back to this, out of this old groove. But nothing is impossible. It can be done. I keep trying every single day because that groove of anger, the groove of old tendencies is quite deep because it's not just from this lifetime, it's lifetimes together. So I'm still working on the new groove patiently, lovingly. Am I anger free? No. But every time I get angry, okay, it's not needed for me to dwell on it. Breathe out, center myself, seek to understand. Focus on understanding. Don't worry about anger. It's going to fade away eventually. Focus on what you want to build. Focus on what you want to be. Focus on who you truly are. Everything that you're not will fade away. So, as Swami says, the goal, the ultimate goal of anger, which is nothing but a form of energy, is to be completely transformed into compassion, which is let me understand your perspective, where you're coming from. It's so easy for me to get pissed off. That's what I've done lifetimes to lifetimes. But now I'm trying to train myself to be compassionate. Let me try to understand your perspective, your unique personality, your unique situation. I understand this with, with this belief that you may not have access to the knowledge that I do. You may not have access or devotion to Swami like I do, which is okay. I seek to understand. So if you focus on the antidote, the problem will leave. And that's what Swami talks about in one of his posts, the three-legged elephant. The more you say, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, the mind doesn't know the words I don't want. It only hears, I don't want to be angry, 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 angry. He says, okay, anger, anger, anger. Keep affirming to yourself. Let me understand. Let me understand where you're coming from. Explain to me. You're in a conversation, the other person is pissing you off. Take a deep breath and say, explain to me. Why are you saying that? It's easy to just blast off. Train yourself. Say, let me seek to understand. Explain to me your perspective. Or if you think the other person is not in a position to explain, be quiet. Try to understand. Dig deep. Imagine yourself to be in their shoes and see where they might be coming from. There is no person who is wrong in the world. It's just a mismatch of perspectives. Hence, I'm okay, you're okay. And if you have time, read this book by Thomas Harris. It's called I'm Okay, You're Okay. That's all there is to it. The antidote to anger is compassion. And compassion says, let me understand you. Compassion says, I already know what my perspective is. Maybe there's a different way of looking at things. Let me seek to understand. You might be surprised when you look at the other side. I mean, that little conversation I had with my son, it really opened my eyes. He says, no, Mama, he's not wimpy. He's just different from the rest of the family members. He just has a different opinion. That's all there is to it. They just have a different perspective. Can you seek to understand? Something to think about. So on that note, Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Narayani Namostute. Narayani Namostute. Hari Om Tat Sat.